but let's get into our team selector then here on the Blood Red podcast. The Darwin debate is to be had for Liverpool, but before we get to the top end of the pitch, let's go through the side that we think Liverpool could well select for the visit to Goodison Park. In between the sticks, Alisson Becker as per usual. Doyley, what's your back four for this one?
Controversial that you've gone for Alisson there.
Yeah, I know. Always the kind of guy to stick my neck on the line.
Guy by name. Yeah. In defence, right. I was considering making 3 changes, but I think I better limit it to 2, even though it's only 1. I think Van Dijk will have to start. He was a bit better. Some of his passing was a bit iffy, but he was a little bit better against Newcastle on Wednesday. Andy Robertson probably won't play against Napoli, so he'll have to play here. Although he's been substituted it feels like he's been substituted in most of the games this season. Trent wasn't very good against Newcastle, and I do think that Everton will look to possibly capitalise on that. And so I actually think it would make sense. Joe Gomez has done really well since he's come back in playing centre back, but might be time to move him across to right back and put Matip in alongside Van Dijk. Now I know Gomez might feel a bit about that because he's been getting a good partnership with Van Dijk, but I do think this might be a game where his kind of defensive sensibilities will help, and especially when you consider what's going to be happening with the midfield.
Yeah, Robertson has been subbed in all the games, bar the game with Fulham on the opening day of the season. Interesting, you've gone there with Gomez. Joe, do you go along with that?
No.
That was a long way.
To be fair, I see the logic, and I do think they need to be solid at the back. I just think with Trent, I see what you mean, but when it clicks for Trent, he's still one of Liverpool's best weapons, and I don't really like. It's like Salah, isn't it? I'll come to Salah in a minute. I think has been playing well, but when Salah doesn't play well, he can look pretty poor. But you don't want to take him out of the team because he can just bang a couple in, and Trent's the same with his deliveries. I think if you take him out, you lose a big threat. So it's risk versus reward, isn't it, with Trent? And I always think the risk is worth it. But yeah, I mean, at the back, I was sort of toying with Matip, but you just look at the nature of Everton's forwards with Gray and Gordon, and I think I'd lean towards Gomez on this occasion. I think if Dominic Calvert-Lewin had been fit, I'd probably lean towards Matip, but Gomez for me. So no change.
Yeah, Theo, what are you saying?
Unchanged back four for me.
Okay, what about the midfield then? I mean, you can talk about it, but you say it's unchanged, so fair enough. It's unchanged.
Don't care.
Don't care. Fabinho, Elliott, and then it's going to have to be James Milner, captain, in the place of Jordan Henderson. Like Joe said earlier, I don't like Henderson on that left-hand side, but it's not an issue now, whereas Milner can do that role quite well. So it hopefully means there's going to be a bit more balance with Elliott on the right. Sort of game Milner normally does well in. It's like, well, the only other option is really Carvalho, isn't it? There's not really anyone else available if Arthur's international clearance hasn't come through yet.
No, it'd be very risky to play Carvalho and Harvey Elliott maybe together in that midfield away at Goodison Park. But if there's one man who would do it, it's Ian Doyle. Doyley, what's your midfield?
Not Carvalho. However, it's not James Milner either. Because Curtis Jones playing on the left of the three. Because he's actually left-footed, and he's been, we haven't seen him all season.
He's right-footed.
Not left-footed. Sorry, but he has been playing on the left. That's where he plays. He played on the left. He can kick the ball with his left foot.
With Jones,
he can kick the ball with the left foot. Yeah, he can.
Yeah, he can. Yeah. If he was close enough to play and start, wouldn't he have had come on against Newcastle? I did sort of feel that they'd rush him back to get in the squad, and they're going to do the same with Jota because they don't have many other options. But they're not really going to throw him in properly.
This is my team, Theo. Do you mind?
Right. He's got history against Everton as well.
He's 2-footed. Where is he? He's there. He's 2-footing my teams now. Honestly, back it in. Let me finish. So Curtis Jones on the left because he's right-footed, obviously, and Fabinho and Harvey Elliott. Now, that's on the basis of this 5 subs thing, and it completely changes, the starting lineup thing that we do, because by the end of the game, it's a completely different team. Milner's definitely going to come on at some point. And
Yeah,
I think
we'd never predicted the subs, and
exactly.
we never
Yeah,
will.
imagine that. You predict the end team at the end. Yeah, but no, I think Milner's got a part to play, and I do think that it might be better served with him coming on after an hour, because you're not going to get more than an hour after Curtis Jones. Bit of a risk having 2 youngsters in the midfield, but if Everton are going to play Gay or whoever it is that's going to be playing in there, I do think there's a chance for Liverpool to run around a lot. Just let Fabinho stay back then, and then the other 2 can run around a lot. And I think that might help in a way, because you can't complain. People have been complaining, like Joe, not complaining, but he made the comment that midfield's a bit old. Well, then put some of the younger ones in and see what happens.
Yeah, okay, Joe, who are you agreeing with?
He's tempting me. Doyley's tempting me with his seductive argument for seductive Ian Doyle with his argument for.
It's been a while since I've been called.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Jones that sticks in my head is that he just hasn't played footy this year, has he? This season. So if he played a couple of games, you know what?
Local lad, Joe.
He's playing the Community Shield, didn't he?
Get him in there.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in Curtis Jones in there. I'll throw Curtis Jones in there. Yeah.
Same midfield as Doyley then, Fabinho.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Yeah.
Okay, what about your forward line, Joe? You can lead us on that.
Well, Jamie Carragher replied to Ian Doyle today on Twitter about Darwin Nunez, saying throw him in, and I'm 100% on board with that. Harsh on Firmino, who I think obviously scored some good goals, and I thought he took his goal ever so well on Wednesday night. Really, really good finish. Lovely move. And then saying that again, I just don't really feel like I really think he's playing that well. I mean, Bournemouth aside, and Bournemouth was such a freak result, I still feel like he drops very deep, doesn't he? I know he always has, but he drops very deep. And I don't really think he's as energetic as he was when a few years ago, when he could get back forward and be in dangerous positions. And I just think against Everton, the chaos that Darwin Nunez could cause. And I think they will try and wind him up. And surely, he's not stupid enough to fall for it. So I just think what we've seen of Darwin Nunez so far.
Along with Doyley, wasn't he, in midweek?
Yeah. The Doyles and Nunez were all shouting some
Spanish
swears.
Yeah. Some of us were being very professional and remaining calm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just like the idea of Nunez going in there and causing a bit of chaos. He's a mad player, still can't get my head around him. Just quickly on Salah. I mean, Doyle, you said, didn't you? He was not in. Did you say something like he wasn't in dangerous positions or something like that?
I say he wasn't near enough to the goal.
Near enough to the goal. But it's funny with Salah, isn't it? Because I think he's been very mature this season in the sense that, like, as a senior player, as Liverpool have struggled, he's fought for everything, hasn't he? He's led by example. I really think we're seeing the sort of captain side of him come through, and he obviously set up Firmino's goal. I thought it was really, really good play for him, and just the little battle at the end to win the header and allow Cavallo to hook the ball into the roof of the net. Thought was great. I really think Salah sort of understated again. Didn't get a goal against Bournemouth, but was involved in a lot, and I really think he deserves more credit this season for what he's doing. Albeit I'd love to see him scoring some more goals, but yeah, I think he's been great in that respect.
Yeah, Theo, are you going for Darwin Nunez against Everton?
No, I'm sticking with Firmino. Unchanged front three. He is in form. He was so good against Bournemouth and got his goal in midweek. And we're talking about these 5 subs. Well, if it's going to be a nitty-gritty affair, give Nunez half an hour to that final third, cause the mischief there, get the game won if it needs it. But he's still learning English football. He's still coming to terms with it. I know they've done a lot of work with him behind the scenes, as Klopp said today, getting him tactically, physically, mentally, whatever, ready for it. But you can't afford to lose his head in early on in this one. It's better to cause the chaos off the bench, have a bit of control over the game at first if you can, and then unleash it if you need it.
I think as much as I talked around Darwin Nunez, I think he could get under the skin of Jordan Pickford as much as the other way round of all pleasure. I know the history.
You can't.
no, exactly. I know the history with Jordan Pickford, but equally, there's been a lot of talk about how he's grown up. He's begun to be a more composed figure around Everton, a real leader for them and whatnot. But in that kind of atmosphere, we've seen him lose his head in it before. I wouldn't be entirely sort of shocked actually if you play it on the edge and actually it plays to Liverpool's advantage rather than their detriment. Doyley, what about your forward line though?
Well, Salah and Diaz are playing. I think the Firmino thing, he's playing well, but it's 3 games in a week. And a little bit of basic research by me yesterday discovered that Firmino's played against 32 teams 7 times or more, and Everton's the only team in that he's never scored against. So you could argue he's due a goal against them. The other argument is that he doesn't necessarily do particularly well against them in terms of goal-scoring threat. Now, if it's Tarkowski and Cody, he's exactly the kind of player that they don't want to face because he drops off. But then Everton could flood the midfield and he could just get lost in it. Quite funny enough, with Joe's seductive Nunez chat, I think
you've seduced each other in this podcast.
Yeah. Whoa.
We'll get a room later.
Yeah, you can stay on the link once we're all gone.
Sorry, we can't get a room because you can't do these podcasts in person. Anyway, with Nunez, I think he'll have had 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks of just being desperate to play. He'll have seen, I did see him on Wednesday, practically in the crowd, telling. He's learned a bit of English. Let's put it that way. He's learned some swear words that he aimed towards Newcastle. There's that. He'll be absolutely right. I think while Tarkowski and Cody would quite relish the challenge, I think, as Joe said, he's so unpredictable. No one really knows what to expect. The opposition don't. Liverpool don't, because he's only just joined, although they've obviously got a much better idea than some of the others have. So I do think there's that sense of when is the best time to use him, probably from the start, because the crowd will be onto him. And if Klopp just says to him, look, everybody's going to go after you, literally just ignore them. And they'll just keep on going at you. And then the rest of the players can get around and do their thing, and then they'll just get bored with you. Then you can do yours. So he kind of hinted at it, saying if there's a player who's using his physical strength or chatting away at you, he's obviously not paying 100% attention to his own game. So make more use of that. I'm pretty sure he said that directly after the sending off. And I think obviously that's something that they've spent the last 15, 16, 17 days just drumming into him. So I think it's going to be lively. The crowd will be straight onto him, but there being more volatile players than Darwin Nunez, who played for Liverpool in a derby at Goodison, and Everton in a derby at Goodison. And
I was going to say Liverpool have had a Uruguayan forward in a Goodison derby.
And what did he do? He scored and then just did a big diving run to David Moyes. So that
never got sent off though, did he?
That might be the way to do it. So I'd rather hope that Nunez
Darwin
score and goes up headbutts right Lampard.
Yeah.
Don't do that, please.
Yeah, although especially given the touchline antics between Lampard and Klopp down the years.
If he is going to do it, don't do it at the last minute, which means I'd have to rewrite all my stuff. So just do it kind of like an hour would be a good time if he's going to do that.
Fair enough. Right.
So that's me. So I'm going to. Sorry, I haven't said it. I'm going to start with it. Yeah, start with it.
Yeah, sound brilliant. Right, we've almost approached the hour mark here. Before we go, our team.
We don't want to leave, guys. We don't want to leave. That's why.
No, exactly. Our score predictions. Doyley, you can start. What's the score going to be?
0-0.
Joe, are we going to get any goals?
1-0 Liverpool. I was going to say no. 1-0.
1-0 Liverpool. And Theo, yourself?
1-0.
1-1. Right, let's wait and see how it plays out. Stick across the Blood Red channel and the Liverpool Echo as per usual. There is plenty to come about the Merseyside Derby over on there as well as here, as on the Blood Red channel. But from Ian Doyle, Theo Squires and Joe Rimmer, they'll catch you later. Meanwhile, today marks my final day at Blood Red. This is my last outing on the pod after 3 years. Time for me to go and do something else. In fact, working with Ian Doyle has just become a bit too much for me to bear. But
the only way is down from here, guy.
Something like that. Thank you to everyone who has listened and contributed to the Blood Red channel through my time here. Genuinely, thank you for your time and your company. From me for the final time, it's bye for now.